Welcome to Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Abhi Janamachi, one of the ministers serving this religious community. I use pronouns he and him.
And good morning, my name is Adam Graham, your director of music, and I too use he and him. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your beliefs, gender identity, immigration or documentation status, disability, and wherever you're joining us from, whether in person at Cedar Lane or online at Cedar Lane, we welcome you to bring your whole, true, and authentic self here. Thank you for taking the time and taking a risk to join us today.
That's right. It is a risk.
It is.
With you and me here.
I know.
That's a little bit risky.
We're usually in the corner.
If you're new to the Cedar Lane community and feel comfortable doing so, would you raise your hand if you're here in person, or add your name in the chat? Welcome, welcome. We're so delighted to have you here with us. We invite you to stay after the service for some fellowship and coffee and tea in the lounge. And also we have a gathering online on Zoom. The link will be posted in the chat towards the end of the service. And you're also invited to complete a newcomer form that will be linked in the chat. Thank you for joining us today.
And if you've been attending for a while and haven't yet joined us but want to, please reach out to Reverend Ali.
Our pastoral visitors are an extension of our ministry team, and Barbara Tomar is our pastoral visitor this morning, who will be available here in person, and we also have pastoral visitors online to support you. Thank you, Barbara, for your ministry. And as always, we do have a few announcements. Right after our service today, we will be hosting our monthly UU 101, which is our introduction to Unitarian Universalism and Cedar Lane. We will be meeting in the library around noon, and this is open to all of our newcomers and guests as well as members. If you want to have a refresher about Unitarian Universalism, just join us in the library at noon. And also, after the service today, please join our members Marlene Berg, who is Cedar Lane's envoy to the UU Office of the United Nations, and Don Bliss, a former U.S. ambassador to a UN agency and past president of the Regional United Nations Association in our chapel, to learn more about the Unitarian Universalist involvement at the United Nations, as well as any questions you may have about the work of the United Nations. Thank you, Don and Marlene, for hosting this gathering, and it's going to be informal. So drop in any questions they would be happy to address. And also, you told me you're going to solve the issue of world peace today. Excellent. Thank you, Don.
That's a pretty big task.
Oh, yes. And all in a day's work. Next Sunday, October 23rd, I hope you will join us to celebrate Deepavali or Diwali with dance, music, stories, lights, and food. Also known as the Festival of Lights, Diwali is an important festival for many South Asian Americans, especially those belonging to the Hindu, Jain, Sikh, Buddhist traditions. And we will be once again hosting our annual Diwali service here at Cedar Lane. There is a sign-up sheet that's going out in the e-news. Please sign up to join us for lunch, as well as to help with some of the setup and cleanup. It's going to be a blast. Pun intended. We have fireworks for Diwali. So.
Tickets are still on sale.
Yes, they are, for our Dare to Dream raffle fundraiser, our big fall fundraiser at Cedar Lane. The deadline has been extended until October 27th, so if you haven't gotten your tickets, please do so. And the drawing will be held on October 30th after the service. And you can learn more about our Dare to Dream raffle by listening to Carla Kramer in this video.
Hi. Are you ready to take a chance? Tempt fate? Stick your neck out? Put money on it? Go out on a limb? You get the point. If the answer is yes, then go all in and join us for the Dare to Dream 2022 fundraiser here at Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church.
That's right, we're back. We did it last year and we're doing it again. This is an important fundraising raffle that helps support the good causes of Cedar Lane.
And lucky you, tickets are only $25 each, and there are 5 chances to win. We begin with a grand prize of $5,000, then there's a $500 prize, a $250 prize, and 2 $100 prizes. It's your opportunity to dream big. What would you do with the money? I would go on a scuba diving trip.
But the real winner is Cedar Lane. Last year, we raised more than $12,000. This money goes to funding the many programs and community services of Cedar Lane.
And because we couldn't hold the spring auction this year, this is our main fundraiser for 2022. We really need your support.
So how does it work? Tickets are available online via a link, or you can purchase tickets in person at the church on Sundays from September 16th through October 20th. We teamed with Greater Giving to run the raffle, and last year we sold 774 tickets. We hope to exceed that this year. The drawing for the winning tickets will be held at church services on Sunday, October 23rd. You don't need to be present to win, but it's a lot more fun if you're there. Again, tickets are only $25 each, and the winning ticket holder can be anyone affiliated or not affiliated with Cedar Lane. That means you can invite your friends and family members to join. Information also will be shared through Cedar Lane's social media posts. Please like, comment, and amplify that too. The more, the merrier. So please, support the Dare to Dream 2022 fundraiser and dream on.
Thank you, Carla, for that wonderful video.
Yes, and Carla is here in the
Yes.
sanctuary, so thank you. And again, the drawing will be on October 30th, and the deadline has been extended to October 27th.
So what day is that again that we're doing the drawing? October 30th. You can do better than that. Okay, October 30th. I gotcha. Now, as we enter this time of reflection and remembrance, connection and community, we acknowledge that we gather as Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church on the traditional lands of the Nacotchtank people from which the name Anacostia is derived. They're part of the Piscataway group of tribes. We honor with gratitude the land and the people who protected it through these generations.
We gather in remembrance of those who were enslaved and worked this land without reward or choice.
And we gather in gratitude for all who have gone before, whose love and labor helped create and sustain the mission and ministry of this religious community. In this spirit, we gather.
In this spirit, we begin.
And it's so great to see all of you. Let us now greet and welcome each other.
Please rise.
Please rise in body and in spirit to sing This Is My Song, number 159 in the gray hymnal. We join with the earth and with each other to bring new life to the land, to restore the waters, to refresh the air.
We join with the earth and with each other to renew the forests, to care for the plants, to protect the creatures.
We join with the earth and with each other to celebrate the seas, to rejoice the sunlight, to sing the song of the stars.
We join with the earth and with each other to recall our destiny, to renew our spirits, to reinvigorate our bodies.
We join with the earth and with each other to create the human community, to promote justice and peace, to remember our children.
We join together as many and diverse expressions of one loving mystery,
for the healing of the earth and the renewal of all life.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Reichley, the worship associate for today's service, and my pronouns are she and her. As Don Bliss and Marlene Berg kindle the chalice to commemorate United Nations Day, please share in the chat where you're lighting your chalice from. Please rise in body and or spirit to share the chalice lighting words. Embracing the interconnected web of water, air, fire, space, and earth, we kindle a chalice of sustaining hope, love, and justice. As we give thanks for this earth, our shared and singular home, we dedicate ourselves
to its ongoing care. Please remain as you are and prepare to sing hymn number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. The words are on screen and in your gray hymnal.
Let us center ourselves and enter into this moment calling upon all the sources of love that are within, among, and around us. We gather in sacred space, across time and space, a sanctuary amid the many challenges of life, a center from which we may gather strength to face these challenges with courage and hope, faith, and love. Within our Cedar Lane community, we mourn the passing of longtime member Don Cleary on October 10th. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife Betty, May, and their family in this time of loss and grief. We hold in our hearts beloved member Elsie Durland, who is very ill, and we offer prayers of peace and comfort to her and her family. Longtime Cedar Laners Harvey and Karen Lerner are in the process of relocating to Salt Lake City, Utah to be with their son and daughter-in-law. We wish them well in their new home state. And congratulations to our alto section leader, Rachel Moore, and her new husband, Julian Reed. They got married on Saturday, September 24th. Please join us after service to celebrate with cake in the lounge. Our caring extends beyond Cedar Lane, too, to others whose lives are lost and whose lives are impacted by war, violence, calamities in our nations and our world. May these friends of ours, our companions in the world, and all the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts be held in the embrace of prayer and silence.
Please join me now for a time of reflection, meditation, and prayer. Settle yourselves in your chair, wherever you are. Feel your feet on the floor. Relax your eyes or close them if you wish. And take a moment to notice your breathing. Take a breath, breathe in, breathe out. Notice your breathing, your neighbor's breathing, our common breath, which is the breath of life. Would you pray with me? Nameless One of many names and beyond naming, Spirit of life and abundant love, be with us, move within us, through us and among us. We who gather here today join our hearts and our breath so that we might hold the loss and care for the mourning and celebrate with the joyful. We pray over those in our midst who are struggling, who are dying, who are mourning, who are caring for loved ones, who are parenting. We celebrate with those who are marking occasions and anniversaries, milestones and accomplishments. We are grateful to be able to be together in community. Spirit of life, mystery of mysteries, nameless and eternal, may we continue to grow in our understanding, our compassion, and love. Let our hearts, however full of joy or grief, know the connection of one another. May we have the strength to hold ourselves and one another in love. As we prepare now for the stillness that silence brings, those among us who are mourning a loss or marking the anniversary of a loss are invited to rise in body and or in spirit and share their names in the chat or speak into the silence. May we hold the silence as the silence holds us. Each week at Cedar Lane, we have the opportunity to practice generosity through giving. We build this, our beloved community, together. This community that holds us so closely and weaves us together day after day, week after week, year after year, and helps us make love work in our community and around the world. There are many ways to give at Cedar Lane: by text or online giving, PayPal, QR code, mailing a check, or placing your love offering in the collection plate. However you choose to give, we are deeply grateful for your generosity and support. Today, we share our plate with the UU at UN, which serves Unitarian Universalist congregations as the center of information, advocacy, and action at the United Nations. The UU at UN, for more than 50 years, brings UU values to the United Nations, advocating for issues such as LGBTQ rights, peacemaking efforts, anti-racism work, opportunities for women and children, and addressing the climate crisis. Let us watch this video from Bruce Knotts, the retiring director of the UU at UN, to learn more about their work.
Happy UN Sunday from the UU office at the United Nations. This year we are celebrating the 60th anniversary of our office advocating for UU values on the global stage since 1962. By engaging every day with member states and civil society and speaking out in defense of human rights and in protection of our planet, our UU office has become a force to be reckoned with at the UN. We're working with the UN community to address the global prevalence of violent repression of political opponents, minority groups, and others by increasingly militarized police forces. We know that only through collaboration and mutual support can our world address the most pressing issues of our time. The international community must come together to solve global problems like climate change. Finding the right solutions to global problems isn't easy. It takes all of us on this planet to work together. The most important organization that can convene the entire world to focus on global issues is the United Nations. Solutions must also come from the communities that are most impacted by the changing climate and other global events. Our office at the UN is proud to be able to help representatives of those communities get access to the decision-making tables so that their perspectives can be heard. None of this would be possible without the generous support of Unitarian Universalists. The UU office at the UN relies on congregational and individual donations to continue its work. Please donate generously to sustain this important presence at the UN. Thank you so much for your generosity. Your gifts can truly make a global impact.
Our offering will now be given and gratefully received.
We come from the fire, living in the fire.
Thank you, members of the choir, Adam and Jasmine, for that powerful anthem, one of my favorites from Harry Belafonte, which Belafonte learned this on one of his trips to Gambia from a tribal elder who really gave him some insights about what it is to be attendant to the rhythms of Mother Earth and to care for it. Especially the words, which are also in our teal hymnal. One of the lines in the song go, "We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around." Powerful. I took some time this past week for some study and reflection, something I don't get to do very often, a respite amidst all the busyness that I love to practice. Visited West Virginia and stayed at our members Dan and Sheila's cabin near this beautiful, beautiful, restful, spiritual retreat. They let me generously use their cabin for a couple of days. And it was just beautiful and serene. The air was crisp, the weather was cool, the hills, those hills, were ablaze in many different colors of autumn. I was reminded of those lines from John Denver's Country Roads, Take Me Home. Take it away, Adam.
Country road, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
Beautiful. Thank you. Almost Heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. And I was out meditating in the woods, really enjoying and taking in the beauty and reflecting on this deep privilege, the privilege of being able to get away and go and be so close to nature and just really rest in this beauty and enjoy the bounty. And I was also thinking about how there are so many millions in our world who don't have that privilege. People who are being forcibly displaced out of their homes and their communities, not by choice, but because of the climate crisis that is unfolding all around us. And I just sat there holding on the one hand the gratitude and on the other the guilt, and really was struggling with it. And later on I was checking in with my dear friend and colleague, Reverend Bill Singford, and Bill said at one point, he said, "Abhi, you should mention that. That'll preach." So, that's why you're hearing it this morning, because this isn't the way I want it to go. But it pointed to me the challenge and the struggle that we carry in our lives in this time as we find ourselves in the midst of a climate emergency. The struggle that E.B. White articulated so beautifully in that quote. It's hard to know when to respond to the seductiveness of the world and when to respond to the challenge. If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If it were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I arise in the morning torn between the desire to improve the world and the desire to enjoy the world. That makes it hard to plan the day. That makes it hard to plan my reflection. What am I to do? What are we to do? Celebrate the beauty or witness to the struggle? Feel guilty about the many gifts and privileges that we are accorded, or do something with them to create more equity and justice? Do this or do that, or do both? I mean, praise the plenitude and open our eyes, ears, and hands to the inequity and injustice. Because, as the Reverend Dick Gilbert once said, to savor, one must serve, and to serve, one must savor. The one will not abide without the other. So here goes. On this UN Sunday, as we gather to reflect on the climate emergency and the climate-forced displacement that we are encountering in the world, where we see more and more wildfires and floods and hurricanes and droughts that are encountering and encapsulating the lives and livelihoods of millions of people. For years, the consequences of carbon fuel climate change have been upending lives and causing people to migrate. And those are just the sudden climate catastrophes. And then we have the slower moving disasters, sea levels that creep farther inland, temperatures that diminish crop yields, storms that dump more and more rain, and rainstorms that fail to appear at all, or even more likely to cause people to leave home and never return. These insidious climate impacts have already begun. Indigenous communities today in Alaska have been watching their villages wash away for decades as permafrost melts at an alarming rate. Tribal residents along the coast of Louisiana lose a football field's worth of land to the Gulf of Mexico every 90 minutes. Every 90 minutes. Due to rising sea levels and land subsistence, both of which are precipitated by the fossil fuel industry. In Bangladesh, rural residents are fleeing to the low-lying nation cities to escape frequent flooding and loss of farmland. Nations in the Pacific Ocean, like Kiribati, are calling for action as their islands slowly slip beneath the waves. The list goes on and on and on. This is just the beginning of depressing the heck out of you today, so just journey with me. So what is climate-forced displacement, you may wonder? Climate-forced displacement is when persons or groups of persons who, for reasons of sudden or progressive climate change that adversely affects their lives or living conditions, are forced to leave their habitual homes either temporarily or permanently, and who move either within their country or abroad. That's the definition of climate-forced displacement. And people who have to go through these migrations are called climate migrants or climate refugees. And across the world, the climate crisis disproportionately impacts Black, Indigenous, communities of color, children, GLBTQ people, and women. In fact, the United Nations estimates that women make up 80% of climate migrants. The United Nations International Organization for Migration estimates that as many as 1 billion environmental migrants in the next 30 years. 1 billion. And after 2050, that figure is expected to soar as the world heats further and the global population rises to its predicted peak in the mid-2060s. And most of this increase will be in the tropical regions that are worst hit by climate catastrophe, causing people to flee northwards. This coming migration will involve the world's poorest fleeing deadly heat waves and failed crops. It will also include the middle class, the working class, people who can no longer live where they planned because it is impossible to get a mortgage or property insurance because employment has moved elsewhere. In the US, the climate crisis has already uprooted more than 1.2 million in 2018 due to extreme conditions like fire, storms, and flooding. And by 2020, during the pandemic, the annual toll had risen to 1.7 million people. Some more. While several national governments have developed immigration pathways for people fleeing natural disasters such as earthquakes and tsunamis, none currently offer protections for those displaced by slow onset climate change, which can consist of droughts, rising oceans, and desertification. And a big issue standing in the way of progress is a lack of funding for climate adaptation relative to migration and mitigation, says Francis, a native of the Caribbean island of Dominica, which was devastated in 2017 by hurricanes Irma and Maria. He says, what's really central for climate displacement right now is making sure that there are enough resources flying towards adaptation so that people not only have the option to move, but also have an option to stay at home if that's what they want. And this imbalance is exactly what the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, the UUSC, is working to fix. By financially supporting frontline community groups in the Pacific that have been marginalized from mainstream funding sources, the Service Committee aims to help those who are either relocating now or likely will be in the near future. Now, given the scale of these challenges, the Biden administration's 2021 report on climate migration was a step in the right direction. The report underscored the growing link between climate change and migration and made the United States the first G20 member to propose a policy process that could potentially offer new legal status and protection to climate migrants. While the report was a laudable step, the administration really could do more to put forth actual solutions. After all, millions of people are getting caught in the climate crosshairs, and they have no time to wait for action. And the report also omits displacement concerns within the U.S. and needed to have been clearer that climate change is the real national security threat, not the migrants themselves. Unfortunately, the United Nations has failed to legally define climate migrants. Therefore, despite the recognized dangers climate migrants face in their countries of origin, international law allows states to deport them. Several UN bodies have attempted to rectify this incongruity, although only multilateral conventions and the UN Security Council can create binding international law. First, the UN General Assembly passed a non-binding resolution that identified climate migrants in need of protection, but failed to provide any policy recommendations. Second, the UN High Commission for Refugees offers legal advice to states responding to disaster-displaced individuals, but it does not consult on slow-onset climate change. Furthermore, given that climate migrants have not been incorporated into current UN refugee definitions and frameworks, UN agencies have not made the resettlement of climate migrants a priority. So, in the absence of international law, the United Nations has been pushing nation-states, to adopt their own definitions and protections for climate migrants. However, many states have failed outright to acknowledge climate migrants or focus solely on those fleeing tangible disasters, including slow-onset crises. Climate-forced displacement also threatens the rights and human dignities of communities and individuals at risk: health, water, housing, education, cultural practices, and freedom of movement, etc. While loss of jobs and social cohesion due to climate change impacts may force communities to leave, access to jobs and the abilities of communities to maintain their social cohesion are amongst the factors that help communities decide where they can resettle. Currently, there are no dedicated climate funds earmarked to help communities relocate to compensate for the loss and damage that they have experienced. And when communities are forced to relocate, the costs are typically financed through local initiatives, be it federal, state arrangements between countries, or through community-based revenues. The Unitarian Universalist Association has been deeply concerned by these challenges and the impact of the climate crisis on the dignity and well-being of human beings. Together with UU organizations like the UU at UN, the UUSC, the UU Ministry for the Earth, and UUSJ, as well as other faith traditions and non-governmental organizations, the UUA has been responding to these challenges by both promoting awareness and outreach and coordinating advocacy to prevent further climate displacement by mitigating the effects of climate change and ensuring a just transition to clean and renewable energy sources. Ensuring, in the event of displacement that cannot be forestalled, that communities are able to relocate safely with dignity and in a self-determined way that respects their integrity and identity. They are providing communities with the resources they need to adapt and place to the effects of climate change and to compensate for the loss and damage they have already incurred as a result of anthropogenic warming. And redressing past failures and addressing root harms and causes as part of our accountable behavior to those suffering harm. This is important work. This is critical work that is happening within our faith movement. This is work that we can support and we can be involved in. And all of this work needs to be done fast and needs to be done lovingly. And it has to be done not only with an eye on the temperature around us, but with an eye on the temperature inside of us, of our understanding of who we are, what our commitments and our values are as religious people. We cannot despair. Despair is an easy option because despair can paralyze us from doing anything. What we cannot do is despair. What we can do is to sit with our despair and work our way through to a place of hope. Roger Santo Domingo, who is a member here at Cedar Lane and also happens to be editor of the UU World magazine, handed me the upcoming issue of UU World, which focuses, he said, on my sermon topic this morning. I wish he had shared this with me before, because it had some really good nuggets of information as grist for the sermon mill. But anywho, thank you, Roger. And in that, I was just scanning it and found this powerful reflection called Finding Hope in Uncomfortable Truth by Alice Kurima Newberry, who is a UU and who's very involved with the 8th Principle Task Force in supporting the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for Earth. I'm not going to read you the whole reflection. It's a powerful one, and I invite you to check it out when you receive your copy. I just want to read the closing part, when she writes, "Harder things will come, and at times the world will get uglier. We will be challenged. To prevail in our hope, we will need to tear down the harmful systems and institutions we have grown accustomed to. We're also going to bear witness to immense loss. None of this is easy. Yet, if we practice staying present in building communities of genuine love and care, we will build where we tear down, we will heal where we mourn, and we will grow where we crumble, and we will keep loving fiercely. Things are not okay. Every moment is now an important time to dig down for and hold on to a love deeper than you know, and there you will find the strength to fight for hope. And if all feels lost," she says, "remember that where we find love, we find the purpose to fight for one another, and that makes our collective survival more possible for every precious minute of our collective existence. After all, we must remember that each of us has a knowingness that life is a treasure." What a beautiful, powerful reminder to us to continue to struggle for hope amidst the uncomfortable truths. And to that, friends, I say, amen. Our closing hymn, the words are inspired and drawn from a sacred chant of the Hupa, or the Natinuqua people in northwestern California. They are a part of the Yurok group of tribes. The Yurok community is disproportionately impacted by the climate crisis right here in our United States, with droughts and catastrophic wildfires. The people, the community, have been doing courageous work, taking a multifaceted approach to climate resiliency. Honoring their work, their wisdom, let us rise together in body and or in spirit to sing "The Earth is Our Mother." The words are on screen and in our teal hymnal. words of benediction or the words of an ancient Sanskrit prayer that says, "Blessed are the heavens, blessed is the earth, blessed is the fire, blessed is the air, blessed is the sun, blessed is the moon, blessed are the waters, blessed is the land, blessed are the animals, blessed are the birds, blessed are the mountains and the seas and the valleys, blessed are the fields and the orchards, blessed is the mind, body, and spirit, blessed are all who protect the earth and all her creatures. Rejoice and be glad, for the earth and her people are one." Om Bhumi Mangalam, Udaka Mangalam, Agni Mangalam, Vayu Mangalam, Gagana Mangalam, Surya Mangalam, Chandra Mangalam, Jagat Mangalam, Jiva Mangalam, Deha Mangalam, Mano Mangalam, Atma Mangalam, Sarva Mangalam, Bhavatu Bhavatu Bhavatu. Sarva Mangalam, Bhavatu Bhavatu Bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om